Hello, everybody. Friday night, 7 o'clock. It is the Long Run live stream and podcast. Welcome along to the Long Run, brought to you by FORDY Runs Running Club. I'm Ian Wilkerson. This is the place for news, views, and tips for the everyday runner. And hopefully, we'll have a few laughs along the way as well. And today, we are talking about speed and what you can do to smash those all-important PBs. And we've got a special guest to help us along with that, a bloke who's a bit of a speed rat. He knows his way around the 10K, as he showed at the winter run by tearing it up and beating everybody. He was finished before I'd even started. It's Mr. Ben Felton. Thanks ever so much for turning up, mate.
Good evening, guys. How you all doing?
Yeah,
good.
We're all right. Well, I no speak for myself. I'm all right. I don't know about the other boys, but we've got the old gang back. What a massive. Thanks. I must say, first of all, thanks very much to Eddie George for helping us out for the last few weeks when Al's not been available. But Mr. Bowley's back. It's lovely to see him.
He's ready. Look, he's ready. We missed him. Oh wait, we missed Al.
We have nice mainly because I had to do the questions and try and keep up with what's all the stuff, you know, and like every well-oiled machine, he makes it look so easy that when you actually do it yourself, you get in all sorts of trouble, don't you, Toby? A bit like the standing producer last week.
I think I've done a good job. Be fair, you was lucky that actually we got it off the ground. And also in the edit, I managed to cut some of it out. So people who've listened to it now as a podcast, which, by the way, you can get on all your podcast providers if you missed any of the whatever episode.
All the best ones.
Yeah,
crap ones as well, probably.
Yeah, there's some real bad ones in there. But no, I managed to cut some of my really bad producing skills out of it. So it didn't actually sound that bad. It was bad, but it wasn't as bad as it was.
Yeah, so sorry if you thought you'd let it accompany you with your long run last Sunday and you played it and it was only 28 minutes because all the pauses were had to be filled in and we had to cut it all. Yeah, so we can only apologise for that. And just send your complaints to the longrunshow@gmail.com along with all your email inquiries, all your questions and stuff. You can send us to them during the week and then Chris can forget about them for 6 weeks and then bring them up a little bit later on. So
5 minutes before the show, have a quick look at them, and then go.
Toby's back from Lanzarote,
and he's lost his tan. No, I think he's lost his tan. It wasn't really a tan; it was more of a burn. Wasn't it, Toby?
A bit pink, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was a bit of a lobster, wasn't you, Toby? Al's looking really brown. If you look at Al. Al looked really. I saw him Thursday, and he looked like a bit of a tanned Adonis.
I just want to quash some rumours about my absence before we get going.
Oh no!
I can categorically deny I was not working as a bingo caller on the Saga Holidays cruise ship for a month.
Oh, you'd have been brilliant.
It wasn't the case.
Al, actually, I'll be fair. I think you'd be good.
26.
They made me an offer, but I had to work beyond 9 o'clock, and it was just way past my bedtime, so I had to turn them down.
Oh, my
now,
life.
in all seriousness, Al, you know, like we don't usually like to talk to you, but seriously, but in all seriousness, you had a bit of a fall at the weekend, didn't you? I don't want to take the mick. I mean, I just wondered what happened and how you're feeling, because I'm sure there's a lot of love for you out there on Facebook.
Yeah. Well, I ended up, first of all, I was running the Kingston half marathon, and it's the first race I've ended up in the medics tent. Unfortunately, at mile 6, I'd had a prior at about mile 3 going down, and then at mile 6 I went for it fully and smashed my face up, smashed my knee up. On a serious note, my glasses probably saved me from a serious injury. I kind of just came off.
What happened?
Well, so the Kingston half, if you've not run it, it's a funny old course because you're running down the Thames Pathway, lovely. You're running through Bushy Park, lovely. And then you're running along the A10, 70 something or whatever with all the buses. And there was like 5,000 runners on a very narrow footpath. So inevitably, there's a little bit of dodging and weaving, and I dodged and weaved once too many and come a cropper and absolutely stacked it. And finished blood strewn. The funny thing was, the medic said to me when I got into the tent, he said, how long ago did this happen? I said, about an hour ago. It was at mile 6, and I carried on running all the way to
Legend.
I wasn't giving
He
up.
wanted
that
the bling.
t-shirt.
He wanted the bling.
Yeah,
Right,
absolutely.
No ill effects or anything. You just
Bit sore.
I did think you might have been jumping around doing one of your jumps and went for a
No,
burden.
that was the irony. I'd done that a little bit earlier on. So I've got that done at the start.
Got the picture done.
Yes, but no, it was a lesson learned. Pay attention. The irony was, I'd been saying to Wing, who I'd been running with, that normally I run in the roads because it's safer than all these broken paving stones and tree roots. And then literally within 30 seconds of that conversation, I'm flat out, smashed up and in a pool of blood. But thankfully, just a little bit of whiplash still. It's causing a little bit of soreness, but the grazes will go.
I'm glad you're on the mend, mate. Just while we're on this sort of injury subject, I just wanted to have a shout out to Monica, the osteopath, who was due to do landmarks last week, but now she won't do it. She had a
skiing accident.
She had a bit of a whammo on the slopes on a skiing holiday week before last. I was going to give her a shout last week, but I forgot. So
big shout out.
Wishing her
Monica.
all the best. Big friend of the show, big friend of the community. So wishing Monica all the best as well. And just before we get going, brilliant post on Facebook this week from Adrian Tron, who is currently, I believe, on his way to the Sahara to do Marathon des Sables this week.
Good luck, bro.
156 miles.
Good luck.
Across the world's biggest desert. Good job. Good job. It's not the Gobi Desert, really, because being as we're number one in Mongolia, he'd probably bump into a few long run.
He would bump into one of our probably 2 or 3 listeners out in Mongolia. That are probably listening to it while they're, riding around on their horses or whatever they do. So, and by the way, big news. I told the boys before we come on air, but it is big breaking news. We are now the largest running podcast in Sri Lanka. So, big shout out to all our Sri Lankan listeners. We hope you're well,
friends.
So that's good news as well. We're the global takeover is carrying on. I think after this week, with Ben being on, that we're probably going to be going to even new continents, markets, and other countries. It's continuing. The phenomenon continues to roll out across the world. It's incredible, really.
I'd like to wish Adrian, I'm sure I speak on behalf of everybody, wish Adrian all the best in his mammoth task to get across that this week. I've had a text chat with him, and hopefully we're going to get him on in the next couple of weeks and come back and tell us all about it. So that's something to look forward to. And next week, I know it's Manchester Marathon next week, but it's also London Landmarks.
And Reading half. And Reading.
Ben's tearing it up at Reading next week.
Late entry to that one today, actually.
So,
really?
Yeah.
What was you just like bowling about the house? I thought, I know, I'll go and win that.
I haven't done a race in a few weeks. So I thought, better get one booked in quickly before the marathon comes around.
When is your marathon?
It's on May the 15th.
Oh, so you got a little while. When do you taper for that?
I'm going to do 2 or 3 week taper. So the Reading half will be the last sort of big effort before I start thinking about getting ready for that one.
Okay.
Yeah, we're right in the thick of the race season now, aren't we?
Have you ever fancied doing? We're getting well ahead of ourselves here, but have you ever fancied doing like Manchester or anything like that? I know.
Yeah, definitely. I'd love to have done Manchester this year, actually. But the way some other races have panned out, it just wasn't possible this year. But I definitely think in the next few years, that's definitely one on the bucket list. Especially because London is so difficult to get into. Manchester seems like a good alternative.
But Ben, it sounds funny, but like, I don't good for age. I mean, for you, does that not? Would you not just like go round backwards and still get good for age, or like?
Not quite. I actually haven't got a good for age time for the London Marathon. I think you need a 1:12 for half marathon or 2:40 for the marathon. So I'll be trying to get that this year so that I can get. And
then you can go in.
Yeah,
because Andy's got one, hasn't he? Forest of Dean, Andy.
Yeah.
Big shout out to Andy, big fan of the channel. But he's got one, hasn't he, for October, right?
I believe so. Yeah, he messaged me today saying he's getting ready for his his longer effort. So yeah, it'd be good to see how he gets on.
Yeah, I think he's going to tear it up. But yeah, I didn't know how it all, because we had Tim Gross on, who does all the rankings, and what was it called, that thing he was telling us about, that he does the other ranking he does,
Power of 10.
Power of 10, that was it. And stuff like that.
I didn't realise he was the mastermind behind all that. I look at that all the time. It's awesome.
Yeah, proper. It's super interesting. Like, but I think you need to clear your head of everything before you go in, because he just literally fill your head with information. After about 5 minutes, I'd lost where we was. But he's just insane amount of knowledge. It's great though. It's good fun. Really good fun. Oh, yeah, he's listening. Hello, Tim.
Hi, Tim. You're all right. Thanks for coming.
So, Tim, what you need to do is fiddle it this weekend. Whatever Ben runs, just fiddle it so he gets in good for. No, don't do that. Don't do that, Tim. Don't do that. No,
hopefully, with the half marathon, I should be able to get the good for age time. It's an hour and 12 minutes, I think, for my age category, and I'm aiming for sub 70. So, hopefully, unless something goes wrong, I should be getting that at the weekend.
Wow, fingers crossed, bruv. We'll get up. As a massive fanboy, as you know, when I nearly wet myself when I saw you at the Winter 10K, I'll be keeping an eye on your scores and stats this weekend, 100%. And then obviously the vlog will be out for that. Are you going to do that? Because this is the thing, when you're running at that speed, I know we showed it the other day with the little GoPro, the little Insta. It's a bit easier. But if you're going for a time, will you film that, or will you get someone to film it for you?
I'll film like the start and the end, but then the majority I'll try and get other people to film it. With like my sort of more competitive cross country races and stuff I've been doing recently, I've just either strapped the camera to the front of my cap and just pressed it and forgot about it, or I've just said no, I'm not going to film. I'm just going to go for it, because it definitely does slow you down a little bit. Obviously, you'll know from when you choose to film a race and when you don't, it does make quite a big difference.
It does. It does. You're right.
It's almost just part of what we do, isn't it? So most of the time you just get used to it, and do a lot of training with a camera as well. Not as in like I'd go around and practice holding the camera for my reps, but
before we get into the serious business, Ben, I'll have to ask you: have you ever done a training run and finished at a fish and chip shop?
I can't say
we did on Tuesday.
Have you seen how lean he is? Does he look like he ends up like we do?
I quite often stop at a coffee shop halfway on my Sunday long runs. If it's a bit hot, stop off at the coffee shop.
So that could be a top tip, chaps. Should we do that tomorrow?
I love it's halfway, not even at the end. You just stop for a coffee halfway.
Yeah, halfway.
Have a cheeky little espresso?
Flat white.
Flat white, and off he goes again.
Water, and then off we go.
What a machine. Boys, we got this. This is why we've got him on. We've got to learn.
This is going to be an education tonight, isn't it? We are going to learn so much stuff. Yeah. We're all going to be tearing it up and going to Costa halfway stage in our runs.
Yeah, that's the secret.
Yeah, Costa. We should get you sponsored by maybe, because they're probably listening to this. We should probably get you sponsored by Costa. Big shout out, Costa. Let us know. Send an email, something.com, for free coffees for me and the boys and Ben.
That'd be great, thank you.
Yeah, no, not porridge, Toad. We're not having Ben. He goes in. We smash the life out of. I go vegan bacon, so I goes double bacon, and Toad gets porridge. I mean, it's not wrong.
Just have that at home.
Yeah. See, right. We want your question, and thanks everybody who's already contributed to tonight and sticking loads of stuff in. I've got no idea what's on. There's loads of stuff. Out on top of it, keep them coming. Fill out the thing Toby put in there that I didn't manage to do last week, which is no surprise, really. And we will get to them, whenever Wilco tells us we're allowed to, really. Wilco, do you want to do some now? Or do you want to...
let's cut up a bit. Let's drop in and have a look at some of the questions, see what people have been asking.
Because everyone want to hear about young Ben.
What you got, Al?
What have we got? We've got Rob Barnett. Trying to build a low aerobic base, and he's having problems with his Garmin because they're just not recognising his efforts. So what advice have we got? And obviously there he's raising the question about what else could he be doing to complement it in terms of cycling or swimming or other activities to help that aerobic base.
Okay, well, look, we'll go one way and then we'll go the other. Firstly, Ben, in terms of cross training, what do you do?
Not a lot, to be honest with you. I only sort of do cross training when I'm injured, really. But in terms of the question, low aerobic, I'm not sure
Mm.
what I guess he's talking about like really easy runs, like.
Yeah, I
I'm
think
not sure.
I take that as building a low. Is Al? You probably concur. Building his aerobic base. What does he do to pretty much low impact to build his aerobic base? Is that what I think we're
I
saying?
think it sounds like he's looking to get into that zone 2 running,
Yeah.
doesn't it? By the
Yeah.
sounds of it. Yeah.
So in terms of cross training, I would always recommend swimming. I think it's in terms of building core, it's low impact, it's great aerobic, sorts out your breathing, sorts out also the concentration in terms of, you're in there and you've got nothing else really going on, and it is a good base builder. In terms of your running, work towards that sort of zone 2 level where you can build that aerobic base nice and gently, minimal impact. But the Garmin doesn't recognise a low aerobic. Well, are you using some form of heart rate monitor? Have you got the technology in sync with each other? I mean, that's a question that maybe you could come back with in terms of, because sometimes, as we all know, we've said it a million times on here, the watches don't pick it up accurately.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
Yeah,
maybe
my advice for sort of the low aerobic, if he's talking about easy, then just do it to effort and don't worry about what the watch is saying. Because I know with literally everyone's Garmin, they say you're unproductive or you'll do a race.
Yeah, I've seen sorry, Ben, to interrupt. I was just going to say this. I've seen a lot of people on the Facebook group, particularly sort of like, oh, I've done 10 miles, I've really tracked it, or I've got a PB or something, and my Garmin's telling me I'm being unproductive.
Yeah, I've no idea why it does that. It seems to be a common theme across everyone's watches. So
I've had an idea. Toe, we talked to our friend at Garmin. We'll ask her because she was brilliant. She came over to one of the park runs, and she was Tobe. She fixed Tobe's watch because I don't know if you've seen Ben, but he's got a really dodgy watch, and he fixed that. Sorry, she fixed that, and she also sorted out a few other bits. So I tell you what, we'll take that question and we'll ask her. There we go, and then we'll come back on that because that's a good shout because she seemed to know everything, which was brilliant. So I'll get on that. Right, Al, what else have we got?
Right, we have got Big Fletch. He's got his London landmarks coming up in a couple of weeks' time, and he wants to know how's he going to conquer those demons that kick in around about 3/4 mark.
Yeah, it's a great question.
It's all in the head, isn't it?
I think that's for you, Ben. Ben, I've got to be honest with you. When I saw you at Winter 10K, I mean, it looked like you was just out for the daily run, but you was like beating everyone massively. But when you get really into those races where you're having to dig deep, how do you keep those demons out? Or do you get them firstly? I'm guessing you do.
Definitely.
I think you're human. Just about. But how do you keep those like faults that we all get? How do you manage that? Because you're going so fast.
Yeah. So for me, it's a number of things. I try to when it gets tough, I try to remember like why I'm doing it. Like maybe that's a goal I've got in mind. I want to hit a certain time. If it's getting really tough, sometimes I think back to some training runs I've done. So maybe you did a really good long run, and that one really hurt at the time, but you got through it. I just try and think of the overall bigger picture. And one thing I've sort of taken on recently is try to not think about the pain that's to come. So like anticipating the pain, just try and stay in the moment. So for example, in a 5K race, I always get to about 3.5 kilometers, and that's when it really gets tough. But I try and not worry about the next 1.5 kilometers that are coming that I know are going to be tough. I try just to stay in the moment, focus on the breathing, focus on the form, and let the running take the turn basically. But that would be my best advice to fighting the demons.
In the moment.
But we all get them, obviously. If you're pushing it to the max, that's what happens. Unfortunately, you just got to find ways to cope with it.
Yeah, stay in the moment. I think that's great advice, really.
Yeah.
It's interesting, isn't it, FORDY, that we've got somebody who's a successful runner and
just a bit,
just using the same sort of motivational things that we would all encourage everybody to use. It's not like there's a secret formula that.
Nah. And it doesn't matter if you're doing an 8-hour marathon, right? Or you're going for what Ben was saying earlier, 240. We're all going through the same things. We're all effectively built the same way. We all operate the same way to a degree. And it is that mental aspect. And that's why it's super interesting to have someone like Ben on to someone who's at that sharp end and how they deal with it and break it down. and take that on board on what we're doing, sort of at other paces. Because
I'd like to think it encourages people. It certainly encouraged me that I'm trying to do the same things that he's doing.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
I saw something the other day that said like it doesn't get any easier. We just get a bit faster, and it's the same with sort of my training. So I've been doing a lot of threshold training at the moment, and over the last maybe 6 weeks, my threshold, so the pace that I can maintain for about an hour, has sort of increased. And people saying, "Oh, is it feeling a lot easier? Like can you run faster?" And it's not necessarily feeling any easier. I've just got faster at that relative effort. So the effort is always going to be high. You're just going to, through training, you're just going to get a little bit faster.
See, Ben, on the threshold runs, I've seen stuff and I've been told stuff by other coaches and stuff like that, in terms of going over that 45 minutes, really the net effect, it sort of diminishes after that 45 minutes. But you say you're going up to what sort of 60 minutes? I know it's different.
Yeah. So for me, threshold is the pace I can maintain for an hour. But in my training, my threshold sessions are usually around 30 minutes long.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense then.
Yeah. So I think 45 minutes would probably be a little bit too much for me. The idea of the threshold training is sort of like comfortably hard. So if you get too close to that hour mark, you're going to start overcooking it, basically.
Yeah, exactly. So you're fatiguing yourself and you're wrecking yourself, and it's you're not going to be able to pick it up again.
Yeah,
quicker. That's it. Al, what about Fletcher's? Thank you, by the way. That was a brilliant answer. Al, what else have we got?
Next question. One of our Facebook users wants to know about stability shoes. When are they going to produce something that's a bit quick, a bit speedy, not boring? And does anything in the Saucony and Dolphin range come under?
I know where this is going.
Yeah, well, no, I'm going to be good because I'm going to hammer you later. I can answer this very quickly because I think that we can move on. The Saucony Tempest is on its way. June, July. It's a faster stability shoe. It's coming. Just wait for it. It's on its way. And that is a mild stability shoe from Saucony.
Do we know how much they're going to retail for, mate?
Probably £3,000 at the current rate. If a pair of Asics Gel Nimbus Light 3s are 165 quid, then they'd probably be about £3,000.
Or a gallon of petrol.
Yeah, it's just mad. The price.
Yeah, it's for a gallon of petrol.
Unless you're buying Puma shoes, which are, or Reebok. Reebok, apparently, their shoes. I've got a pair of, I can't remember, they're not up there, downstairs. Float Ride something. I looked them up today. They're 75 quid. So we'll see if they're any good. But the Puma shoes, so they're still cheap. So
get back to Reebok.
Yeah. Well,
you heard it here first.
Right. What's next?
Right. We got a question for Ben, but I'm just going to bring in Fiona. She's mentioned about rowing, and none of us mentioned rowing. And rowing is a great all-over body workout if you do it properly. It's not just all about your arms, but yeah, another tick for rowing there. So there's a question from Ben coming from Nick Sombrero Harrison. When things are going wrong in mid-race, how do you pull it back?
Oh, that's a tough one.
Have you ever had a race go wrong and you've had to pull it back?
Yeah, that's a point. Yeah. Have you ever had one?
Yeah, definitely. One race comes to mind was my first ultra marathon. So I've never run a marathon, but I did an ultra last year, and I put in a good amount of training. I felt ready on the day, and everything just went completely wrong. I documented it on YouTube, so I'm sure you can probably find it somewhere. But I got to about the 20-kilometer mark, and it was a 50-kilometer race, and things just I had stomach cramps. It was a really hot day. I just couldn't get this pain in my lower abdomen to go away, and every time I started running, it would come back. So unfortunately, sometimes in races when things do go wrong, you can't always pin them back. So that would be my sort of honest advice there. But yeah,
some days it's just not your day, is it? I mean, you accept.
Some days you just have to accept it and go again, and that is the beauty of running and chasing PBs and races and stuff. Is there's always another one that you can pick down the line. So
what you're saying is you can always try and pull it back next time rather than worry about it too much on the day.
Yeah, definitely. That's probably how I would approach it.
Tobe, but you've been like that. Obviously, we've talked about your experience when you were at Dorney and you had a few issues. But did you? That's now a long time down the road.
About a year ago, still going.
Hang on. Let's just bring Ben into this. Ben, have you heard about this? What happened to him at Dorney?
I haven't. No.
Oh, bless him. So, do you want to tell your side, or should we tell him the real story?
Well, what's the real story according to you?
That you went out big time, and then you woke up in the morning with a dodgy tummy, and then basically, Ben, he spent, I would say, the best part of 4.5 hours running. Because have you ever done one of the Dorney races?
I haven't, but I know the route.
Yeah, up and down the sides. Well, there's toilets at each end. So all he was doing was running from one Portaloo to the other and back again. And he did that for 4.5 hours. And at the end, we
4:15.
were so worried about him. The guys at Active Training were so kind. They sent the drone out to find him. So we filmed him coming out the Portaloo and then coming back through the. But he's still done the marathon in 4.5 hours. But he was bagging trouble.
It was basically like 5K intervals.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say that sounds like an interval workout. A nice little sit down every half hour.
There was no coffee though. No coffee.
No coffee stops.
No, just water.
Maybe next time you have to get that set up for you.
But then again,
you bounce back from that time. You know, you obviously
did.
Did you just put it down to it's just one of those things and cracked on next time?
well, that's the, so that did a couple of things for me. One, which was then I went out 2 weeks later and smashed my half marathon PB because I still had some unfinished business at that time of year. So I was like, I'm going to go and do something. So again,
Excellent turn of phrase, unfinished business.
that spurred me on there. But also now, if you're in that marathon or whatever race it is, and you are struggling, I can think back to that race and go, I still completed that, and it wasn't
fair play to him. I think, to be honest with you, most people, right, myself included, would have sacked that right off and said, you know what, today is not my day. I've got the trots. I'm done. But he still bashed out a 4.5 hour marathon, effectively, as you say, running intervals between the Portaloos, which is incredible, really. So even though I don't like to, we give him some credit. Yeah. But that's all you're going to get, boy.
You're just upset I didn't tell you about the heated seats on the way home from there.
I know. And then that's it, Ben, right? So I'm aching, like, because I'm old compared to Tobe, 9 years at the moment. 9 years. And I get home and I was like, you know what? You don't probably, but my hamstrings were like on fire after Dorney. And I was sitting there and I got up and he said, why didn't you put the leather seats on the heated seats, just as we pulled into my drive? And I was like, I could have had that for an hour and a half. Nice massage on my, told me, just drop me off. Thanks for that. I couldn't get out of the car either. That was on. Did we put that? We did, didn't we? I couldn't get out of the bleeding thing.
There's a video of that somewhere.
Yeah, I couldn't get out of the car.
I was all right because I had the heated seats on the way home.
Yeah, I know, Jack. Anyway, right. So I tell you what would be cool. Wilco, I think we need to give the viewers some background on Ben. And a little bit of.
Let's tell his story.
Yeah, let's turn the screw a little bit on him, make him, because he's having too much of a good time.
St. Paxman, mate. It's not, it's not news night. You're going to give us a bad reputation. People ain't going to come and want it if they think they're going to get a grilling.
Well, I don't know. We are big in Sri Lanka. That's all that matters to me at the moment.
Well, we'll have to reach out to people in Sri Lanka and see what they sort of want and get some feedback.
Yeah. And we could ask them. And the people in Malaysia, where we're still number one. I just put that out there, by the way. Put it out there. Anyway, Wilco, over to you.
Oh, right. Okay. He's disappearing. But, so, Ben, thanks very much for coming. We've sort of touched upon your running and your social media exploits as well. Can you just sort of we had a chat yesterday and you suggested you were quite a late developer and coming into the sport and coming into running.
Yeah, definitely. So I've only been sort of into the sport for about the last 4 years properly. So after university, me and my girlfriend moved to Sweden. And one of the first things I did was I joined a running club over there just as a way of meeting new people and socializing. I think that was on the second night we moved over there. She got a job over there, which is why we ended up moving. And fell in love with the sport ever since. Sort of started really enjoying my own training, and I started to look at ways of building my mileage up, getting quicker, doing park runs every week. Then I started entering races, and it's just sort of grown from there. Then fast forward maybe a couple of years to the first lockdown here in the UK. I'm sure we can all remember we've all sat at home, nothing else to do apart from going for your run if we were allowed. I think this was at the time where we were only allowed for allowed out for an hour a day or something like that.
Yeah,
I just started filming my training, documenting it, and thinking, oh, maybe this will go down all right on YouTube. I'd already made some sort of like vlog style content when I was at uni, but never really got any traction. And as soon as I shifted to making the more running content, the more niche stuff, if you like, it sort of picked up from there. And I've been doing it ever since, really.
So do you, now we've touched upon the fact you've already mentioned the sort of times that you're running for these big events and the sort of standard that you're running. You must have had a certain degree of fitness before you actually started running. Did you, what did you do? Did you run at school? Did you, have you got a more different general sporting background, or how did you, how did running become your thing?
Yeah, so when I was at school, I was always the kid that did pretty much every sport. I was never really excellent at any of them. I was just sort of like a good baseline. Like I played in the football team, the netball team, did a bit of rounders, cricket, cross country. I'd sort of have a go at everything. And I did have a little bit of a period at school where I got into the athletics a bit more. And I remember competing for, I think it was like Northeast Essex or something like that, at a cross country race. And I don't know why, but at the time when I was a kid, this enormous amount of pressure like came over me, and ended up having a terrible race, a cross country race it was. And I sort of just fell out of love with the running side of things, and didn't really touch on it again until I left university. So yeah, some 5-6 years later. So I've always done a lot of sport growing up. I think when I started this sort of running journey, if you like, it was with a park run. I think my first park run was around 24 minutes. So I was never like a really fast runner from the get-go, but I did have some sort of baseline fitness there from the other sports, I guess.
I mean, it's still remarkable that you've gone from a 24-minute park run to the sort of times that you're knocking out now. What was involved in that transition? How did you go from that stage to being what would be classed as sort of like a successful sort of club runner to a person who wins big 10K events in the middle of London?
Yeah, I think it's just a case of gradually building it up over the years. I've definitely found, I think, probably the biggest sort of correlation between my faster times, if you like, is my weekly mileage. So when I first started running, I was probably doing maybe 1 or 2 runs a week, say maybe 20 kilometers of running a week when I was running the 22-minute time for the 5K. And then just as I gradually built up my mileage over months and now years, I've slowly got quicker and quicker. And obviously learned a lot about how to train, your interval stuff, your Sunday long run, all those sort of things that you pick up along the way have contributed. But yeah, if I had to put it down to something, it would just be the consistency of building my weekly mileage up. Now I'm running around 100 miles a week, so yeah, 160 kilometers, which is a hefty amount.
That is. So are you double running? I mean, how does Ben's week look like in terms of getting that sort of mileage in?
I do double runs, just because I personally prefer to do 2 sort of middle distance runs rather than like lots and lots of long runs. So I'd much rather do like, I don't know, 2 10 kilometers instead of just 1 big 20 kilometer. I've just found through my training, my body seems to recover better from that, and I still get the same sort of cardiovascular benefits, if you like. So yeah, a typical week, I guess, at the moment is I do 3 hard days a week and 4 easy. And what I mean by that is on those hard days, I do my sort of interval stuff. So that is on a Tuesday, Thursday, and then I do a long run, which I call another hard session, on either a Saturday or Sunday. And then the rest of the week is just easy mileage, so conversational pace. And at the moment in my marathon training block, I've been doing the double threshold sessions. I don't know if you've heard much about that.
Yeah.
From the
Talk us through one of them. It sounds horrific.
Yeah, so you got the Ingebrigtsen brothers from Norway. These are the first guys that sort of brought it to light, and it's all over Scandinavia now. This is how everyone's training over there. And obviously coming from sort of my running background started in Sweden, so I saw some of this like threshold training over there, and I've become quite a big advocate for it now, having done it in my own training. But basically what it means is, instead of doing a really hard, intense interval session, maybe 2 or 3 times a week, you break it up into, so say if you're going to do 3 interval sessions, you now do 6 interval sessions, but they're slightly reduced in terms of the intensity. So for example, an average Tuesday for me, I'll start off in the morning with a 3 times 10 minutes at my threshold pace, which for those people who don't know what threshold pace is, I think we touched on it a minute ago, is the pace I can roughly hold for an hour, or another way I like to describe it is like 7 out of 10 on the effort level. So it's sort of, I'm not sure where it fits in the zones, but zone 3 to 4.
Yeah, you're moving up
to hard.
Yeah, exactly.
But the idea is you don't want to be pushing it too hard, otherwise you're not going to be able to do a session later that evening. So yeah, typical Tuesday, 3 times 10 minutes in the morning, and then I'll do something like 400-meter repeats on the track with my club in the evening. And yeah, those sort of 2 easier sessions, if you like, in terms of relative effort, replace a much harder session. Ben,
out of interest then, so if you're doing that in terms of recovery, right?
Yeah.
Because this is, I think, one of the biggest things that we all neglect. We're going out, we're smashing out these sessions. I mean, we're doing the best we can. But in terms of your recovery, if you're doing that sort of mileage, what does your recovery look like? Is there some form of, have you got them big like boots that you lay in of a night time? Are you like sleeping in an ice bath? How does it look for you?
Yeah, so I don't really have like loads of set techniques, but what I found is the recovery actually comes from the session itself, which sounds a bit stupid, but it basically means if you're pushing the sessions too hard, you're not going to have time to recover for that second session. So the whole idea of this sort of this training philosophy, if you like, is you never really go into the well. So you shouldn't really need, I don't know, more than a day, 2 days to recover fully from these sessions. But I do some things in between my workouts, such as compression tights. I tend to wear those in between my runs. Stay off my feet during the day if I can. Even a 20-minute nap can do wonders.
Al loves a 20-minute. Al, you love a 20-minute nap, don't you? Be fair.
Normally just after this show, just to recover.
During, Al.
And the thing we brought him back.
Ben, can I bring it back? Let's bring it back.
Bring it back.
I'm a Hanson runner. I like to go out 6 or sometimes 7 days a week.
Yeah.
Where do you sit in nutrition? If you're doing like 100 miles a week, how do you fuel for that as well? We've talked a little bit about the recovery, but what about fueling for those distances?
So obviously you're going to need to eat a lot more than you would if you weren't doing those sort of mileage.
We need to up our
mileage. Did you hear that, Toby?
No, we need to up our mileage. We can eat more.
I'm sure we go to the same places as Ben to eat as well.
I tend to just have so my average sort of portion of food would be have a larger portion of carbohydrate aspect to it, because a lot of my training is the easy miles. So in order to fuel that, you need your carbohydrates and your sugars and stuff like that. I try to make sure I'm eating a good amount of food. Try to eat as clean as possible, really, because that definitely does help.
What about supplements and stuff like that?
I'm not really a huge supplement guy, to be honest with you.
You get it naturally.
Yeah, I prefer just cook pretty decent.
What about
meal.
after your runs? Because obviously, you see people smashing their life out of like protein shakes. Is there any specific thing that you go for?
Electrolytes are definitely something I've sort of taken into my training over the last 6 months. I try to have an electrolyte tablet straight after pretty much every run, to be honest with you. I just find that helps kickstart the recovery, replace all the salts and stuff that you sweat out in the run. But I don't take any protein shakes, anything like that. I take these little turmeric sachets called Zuki, which just helps with it's just an anti-inflammatory, basically a natural anti-inflammatory. But yeah, no, I'm not really into all the supplement side of things.
Yeah, and it just shows you, doesn't it? We get talked into it, taking this, taking that, and then you've got Ben who's like not doing anything. It just shows you that it's all everybody's. What about? I tell you what's interesting. What about for this marathon training then? Yeah. You fueling that? How would you? Because let's say us everyday runners, 45 minutes, 60 minutes, whatever, depending on your effort level, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Where does someone going at your speed and your thing, where do you sort of go in, or do you fuel? Do you not fuel?
Yeah, it's a
How does it
tough
work?
one. So I typically only really race like 5K up to half marathons. And in those races, I typically wouldn't take any fuel at all, really. I'd just make sure I had a good breakfast, maybe if I wanted to have a gel beforehand. But typically in those races, I wouldn't. But obviously with the marathon, it's going to be a completely different ball game. I know for a fact that I won't be able to just run from start to finish at the sort of pace I want to without fueling. So I have been practicing with different gels. I've tried the Morton drink mix. That I've tried that last week for the first time. So I'm very new to the whole fueling strategies, but I'm finding at the moment I'm having a gel every sort of 10 kilometers on my long run, and that I'm finding that sort of is enough. Probably could do with taking a little bit more, to be honest with you, but yeah, I do find it difficult to take on fuel. I don't know if it's the same for everyone, but when you're running as fast as you can, basically, it's quite difficult.
Yeah, it's not ideal, is it?
No,
but I mean, that must make a difference. If you you saw it with Kipchoge when he did that sub 2, they fueled that to the second.
Yeah,
he knew
incredible.
exactly when he needed it.
Yeah,
and that would have 100% helped him achieve that time. So he was operational at peak performance the whole way. So that's going to make if you get, don't want to worry you or anything, Ben.
Yeah.
If you get your fueling a little bit wonky, that could make the difference between you say 240, that could go 242 or 239. Couldn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. That's why I'm trying to make sure I practice that in my training, because I think when I think back to one of the races, you might have actually been there on the day. It was a half marathon at the Debden Airfield. It's called, was it the Essex Half or something like that? It was called?
I think that's when Toby he probably came second to you. But
I didn't do that well on the day. I didn't come anywhere near the top.
Cho.
But I think on that day, on the day, I decided to try a completely different fueling strategy that I'd not done before, and obviously that didn't go down too well.
You did a Toby.
Yeah. So my advice for fueling would be just practice it in your own training. Find out what works for you. Some people can stomach gels, other people can't. Some people.
I love Nick Harrison's comment. And I think this is what I'm going to take away from today, apart from all the other amazing stuff. But it's fascinating. Maybe daily naps are the future. I'm with you, Nick. I think we should all take more. We should all be more like Alan and take more daily naps.
100%.
I think people would advise we should take them between about 6:30 and 7:15 on a
How does anyone?
Friday night.
I'm going to take the principle of double threshold training and do the double napping.
Double napping. We could go double napping. I like that, Al. We're onto something. Then we could add that into our training plan. Double nap.
Yeah, you can even put it on Strava as well. Your naps.
Yeah, we can time it. I wonder if there's a sleep function on this Garmin.
Brilliant.
It probably is. Right. Should we do the Should we really turn it on and put him under pressure with the lightning round now?
Yeah, I think what we could do is if we do the lightning round now with Alan, and then afterwards we could perhaps
it's about a million
a
questions.
bit more and get some actual tips that people can, little hints and cheats and or whatever.
I've got one question, for him. But we can leave that towards the end. I've got one. It's not that serious. Don't worry about it. I've just got one question, and then let me do. So should we do the line? And Tobe, do you know how to work the system? Just because I know last week you told me and it sort of went a bit wrong. Are you going to be all right?
I'm just fixing what you wrote last week. Don't worry about it.
I didn't break nothing.
Sorry, busy. Bye.
Welcome back, Ben. Welcome to the lightning round.
That was a great introduction. I love that.
It doesn't get any better, don't worry. So I don't know if you've seen this or heard this, but we've got a series of quickfire questions for you. I've been away 4 weeks, so I might have forgotten some of them, so bear with me. But there are no trick ones. You do know all the answers, trust me. So, bucket list race.
London Marathon.
Pre-race breakfast.
Weetabix, coffee, And that's pretty much it, to be
I
honest.
think we've had Weetabix before. Interesting. Favourite distance?
10K.
Okay. Favourite long run fuel? We've just been talking about that. So
Coffee.
coffee. Oh, for the caffeine and the endurance.
Yeah.
Favourite brand of running shoes?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I'd probably go Hoka.
Oh, good. Ketchup or brown sauce?
Ketchup.
Summer or winter training?
Oof. Gonna go winter, actually.
Yeah, get the
Yep.
layers on. Road or trail races?
Road.
One song playlist. Remember, you got this for, well, in your case, only 70 minutes. The rest of us might have it for like 2 and a bit hours. So one song playlist.
Big fan of Mac Miller. So I'd probably listen to one of his songs over and over again.
Okay. And I know you're a bit of an Essex boy. So is it Southend Pier or Clacton Pier?
Oh, I'd probably go Clacton Pier. It's a little bit closer to home.
And it's full of the amusements, isn't it? You can spend
Yeah.
your 2 pences there. Excellent.
Definitely.
Thank you, Ben. Well done. Toby, roll the titles, please, mate.
I just want to let everybody know there's no more Weetabix in any of the stores in Broxbourne. I've just ordered them all because I'm now fueling. I just want to be Ben. What Ben is Ben's like all the good bits of me. He's like a nice person, runs fast, you know, he does all this really good stuff. And basically, I'm like the bad part. But now I'm going to be trying to be more like Ben. It's going to be hashtag be like Ben.
You
So
like the
now,
angel and the devil on each
Yeah.
shoulder. Sorry.
I'm now
I want to
ordered.
know
all the
how much Ben
Weetabix.
talks when he
What?
runs.
Yeah, Ben, do you talk much when you
talk?
run?
What, to myself?
No, do you run with anyone? And how
Yeah.
can anyone run with Ben? They can't keep up with him.
Yeah, I do. I like a good chat on a run. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, see?
Yeah.
Because Tobe gets a bit upset because I talked to him for 4 hours. He hates it.
Oh, no. Chew your ear off.
Yeah, I'm one of those, unfortunately. And he puts earphones
talks
on and
at
I
you.
still talk.
You got to
What?
run faster, Toby. That will shut him up.
We can
Yeah,
do
just
that.
disappear
We'll try
off
that
down the
tomorrow.
canal.
He does it. He does. He does. Ben,
Or just
honestly,
leave him.
on the training runs, he looks around. You ask Si, because me and Si were talking about this. We was hammering him the other day because he was away. He does this little glance and he just buggers off. He's gone. And in the last 4 miles, you don't see him. That's what
It's
he is. What
lovely.
it is.
Nice and blissful, you know.
What? Who's it? Right.
To hear
So,
the birds.
Wilco, did you
Do we
say we're
want to
going to
just
try?
start? We've just had an interesting question from Bo come in. Do you want to just ask that, Al?
When I come off mute. Ben, what do you think of teaching your body to be fat adapted, i.e. not taking sugar as your source of fuel? Ever tried that?
I haven't done, no.
No, I don't think I have either. You know,
That's
we normally
interesting.
rely on
No.
sugars as our carbs, but
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that is interesting.
go
We'll
away
have
and
to find
research
out a bit
that
more
one.
info on it.
Yeah, it sounds like a big step.
Yeah, Al, do you
I'm
want
not
to come
sure.
back? Do you want to do a bit of research on that? I'd be interested to know that.
yeah, only after I've had a nap. Let me go away and have a nap.
Yeah,
first.
go and have a
Take
nap.
it easy, mate. Ease your way back in.
But Wilco, should we get some tips out of Ben, and then I'm going to ask him his question.
Yeah. So Ben, you've talked about how you increase your mileage, how that's had a massive effect on your times. You've also talked about your fueling and things like that. What other tips can you offer people to make those little changes, perhaps, that are just going to get them over that line, over that threshold of the time that they want to get?
Yeah. One that comes to mind is probably one everyone's heard before, but it's the whole easy runs easy, hard runs hard. When I first started running, I sort of would go out for 5-10Ks, and they'd all be at the same sort of pace. Never easy and never really that difficult. And I think some people refer to it as grey mileage or stuff like that. It's the in between stuff. So one thing I've done over the last maybe year or so is made sure that all the easy runs in my training plans are easy. So that's conversational pace, and I like to sort of keep an eye on my heart rate when I'm doing that sort of running as well. And then that allows you to recover properly in between these harder session days, when you can really see the benefits of your training.
Do you work in miles or kilometers, Ben?
And kilometers, yeah.
So how much slower would your easy pace be compared to, say, your 10K pace if you were doing an easy run?
Yeah, so my 10K pace is around 3:10 per kilometer at the moment, and my easy run pace is around 4:30 to 5 minutes a kilometer. So what's that? A minute and
Fast?
a minute and a half.
Yeah. So that's the sort. I mean, obviously, these are figures that people would, many people would find difficult to comprehend.
But it doesn't matter.
But that sort of difference, that
Yes.
sort of ratio,
Yes.
would be applicable if you were doing 12-minute miles.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's as you say, Wilco. You're right. It doesn't. It's all applicable. Like so. Easy run, Tobe. Easy run tomorrow for us when we go out. Start off. What pace are we running tomorrow? No faster than what?
9:45.
Yeah, 9:45. Goal pace. We're going to be. So then we'll move down to goal pace for the last 4 or 5 miles. What 8:20, 8:25?
Yeah, 8:15,
something like that. So kilometers. We move down to 5:20 per kilometer for goal pace. We're probably 5:47, something like that, easy. So
I do 7.5 and 6.
It's all relative.
Yeah,
but it just shows you again somebody of a Ben's speed, even it's comparable in terms of you can apply it to what you're doing. It doesn't matter what speed you're at. It makes no difference. It's all applicable, and that's the great thing about it, and that's the amazing thing about running, that we can all do it, and we can all do it to our own ability.
What about Ben? What about any sort of key equipment or anything like that people might want to be worth investing in if they're to make a small difference?
My foam roller is definitely probably the one piece of kit that I couldn't go without. Definitely think that helps with recovery. I usually roll after my runs. Some people prefer to do it before, but yeah, just helps with tightness, recovery, that sort of stuff. And maybe a shoe rotation as well. Definitely, I find helps as well. If you're running in the same shoe every time. That can. So
how many pairs do you have? I mean, I'd imagine if you're doing cross country, I'd imagine you're doing that in a spike, aren't you?
Yeah, in spikes. I've got too many pairs of shoes, but I usually rotate between. Even with say easy running, I'll run in 3 different pairs of shoes in the week. I just
what's
find
your
that
go-to?
helps.
Sorry, Ben. What's your go-to daily at the moment in terms of?
I'm still with the Hoka Mac 4 actually.
Okay.
Yeah, and the Rebel V2.
And the Rebel, have you found the wear on the Mac 4s?
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah.
I thought they would they wear down a lot quicker than they would because
exactly. Yeah,
they don't have any outsole on them really. But no, I've got I think over 1,000 kilometers in mine, and they're still going all right.
Amazing.
And the speeds as well. Saucony Endorphin speeds. If I want to go a bit quicker, they're great. Well, they don't really fall into the easy category, but you can run easy in them as well, can't you? But a nice shoe rotation definitely helps.
Did you ever get your gait analysed?
I have had it done before. Nothing really came of it in terms of.
No, I just wonder whether because of the speed. I guess because your foot placement's different. I suppose because you're more forefoot. You're optimal. Let's call it.
Yeah.
But I wondered if you'd ever gone down that road.
One interesting thing that came out of it actually was more my arms actually rather than my feet. When I start to fatigue, my arms sort of do this a little bit.
Yeah.
So I have to be more.
You lose form somewhere. You always lose form somewhere, and it can be hips, arms, head, can be anything. But that's you do see that sometimes. Actually, you see that, and some like you, but you see that on the track as well. Some of the guys they do tend to lose their arms a bit. It's quite an interesting thing to pick up on. Who picks up on that? Who noticed that?
It was one of my coaches just said when I'm getting tired, my arms are sort of frailing all over the place, and if I keep them more pumping forward, the legs will sort of
drive your legs.
Look after
drive your legs. Yeah, absolutely.
Al, we've got 2 or 3 more questions, and then we'll get Fordy's question.
Yeah, we are getting the questions coming thick and fast. We haven't discussed socks yet, Ben. So Sanj wants to know about blister-free socks. Got any recommendations for him?
Unfortunately not. I'm not really a big sock guy in terms of I just wear whatever's clean, to be honest with you.
Whatever's clean.
We tried.
Yeah. No, sorry, I don't have any.
Have you ever run barefooted? Because some of the elites they do run barefooted, don't they?
No, not barefoot. No, I'm more of a max cushion shoe kind of guy, to be honest with you. Couldn't think of anything worse than running barefoot.
Okay, next Al.
Well, just before we go, Sanj, what I would suggest is go back through some of our other podcasts, because I know we've talked about
there's millions of them
and socks before. So I don't know which episode, but trail the archives.
Yeah, sorry about that, Sanj.
Jason Rams, we kind of touched on this a little bit, so I may know your answer, but he's currently using Endorphin Pro 1 and he's looking for some shoes to rotate. So he seems to have narrowed it down to Nova Blast 2 or Hoka Mach 4. Now, obviously, Ben's given a vote for Mach 4. Anyone else want to vote for any of those?
Yeah, I'll go Mach 4. Mine are okay. Mine are still in there.
Yeah.
Something to complement the Pro. I have to be. I've been running in the New Balance 1080, the new one of them.
Oh
this
yeah, I haven't
week.
tried those out yet. They look good.
The upper's really thick on them, but they've softened up that Fresh Foam X a bit, and it's I don't know. It just seems a bit. Last year it really cut in a bit, but this year just the whole. I don't know. They definitely play with the geometry of the shoe because it just feels a lot easier. It's not as cushioned as the more whatever they call it. You know, the max cushion when they do, but it's not as sort of low as the going towards that Rebel. It's just I don't know. It's just been really enjoyable.
Yeah, I definitely want to get that in for testing. They've improved the heel tab as well.
So much better. It's like the 880, which is it's so much better. It just feels like the version 10 did. Right, that's what it feels like, and that was a good shoe. Okay, so have we helped, Al? I don't think we have.
Yeah, probably.
I would say that
Mach 4 and other options available.
Sorry, Al.
Mark asked a question ages ago.
Al. Sorry. Ben, what would you say?
I was just going to say one of the big differences that I've found between the Nova Blast and the Mach 4 is I can't remember the exact drops, but the Nova Blast is quite a dramatic drop between heel to toe. I think it's like a 9-10 mil, whereas the Mach 4 only has a 4 mil drop. Yeah. So if you're someone who prefers more of a less of a drop, then the Mach 4 would be better suited for you. And I know personally that's what suits my foot strike a little bit better. But yeah, it just depends.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. Check the drop on issue. Sorry, Al, I didn't mean to.
No, Mark asked a question ages ago about gout, and none of us are doctors, so I don't think we're able to answer specifically on that. You say,
yeah. Go on.
Since when? Right, okay. But we've already partly answered. I think Ben talked about his turmeric being an anti-inflammatory. And that gout is that kind of disease. So might be some answers there, but question is go and check it out with your doctor. And then a very kind of local questions come in from Terry Lappins. Want some information about the Run Festley Valley Half? If anyone
watch the video. Watch the video we did last year when Sabrina admin was going for sub 2 and Toby made her cry. Watch that video because it shows you the terrain that you're running on. I would go personally some form of hybrid. You want something like a Pegasus Trail 3 or a Craft CTM shoe, something with decent outsole. Even actually, where is it? I know they're not here, but the Pumas, like with the Puma grip, something like that. It's got a bit of meat on the grip because you're sort of mainly on that off traily kind of stuff, but it's not enough to wear trail shoes. Would you agree, Tobe?
Yeah, I think it's something with a bit of stability as well. I think you are running over, it's quite rocky and
so if I go and me Brooks Adrenaline,
no, you're not allowed to wear Brooks.
Ideal then, because I'm doing this on Sunday.
If you go on the Lee Rally somethingfest.com, it says Brooks, whatever you're wearing, a band.
Why?
Why? Because you're not racing in 1987.
Look, they're not good because they're old. They're old because they're good, mate.
No, you can't bring that one up every week.
Well, it's true. If your only objection to them is that they're a bit boring, I'm sorry.
They
are
boring. All right, I'll tell you what. Let's ask a neutral. Let's ask a neutral because he's not paid by them yet. So Ben Brooks.
Yeah.
Where do you stand on Brooks Run? I have this problem, the fact that all their stuff all looks the same as it does as in 1987. The Ghost, I put the pictures up in the video. They look exactly the same, the current version, as they did in version 7. I'm not saying they're a good or bad show. I'm just saying they look the same. Where are you on Brooks? They're not listening, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, I personally don't wear Brooks or I've never tried them. Like you, they don't really interest me. They seem a little bit on the boring side of things, to be honest with you.
He's Essex.
But yeah, I was working in a running shop the other day, actually. I started doing some part-time work on running as a tech rep. But yeah, Brooks shoes they don't even need to be sold to customers. They sort of sell themselves. I don't know why they have they're a big market for them.
You
like
can't
the
argue
one.
with the public's opinion, mate.
Exactly. So
have
they
you
must
got the
be doing
Cloud
something
Monster,
right.
Ben? Have you got the Cloud Monster?
I have, yeah. You can go and grab it if you want to see it.
Nah. What do you think?
Yeah, I really like it. It's really
Yeah.
good. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
they're on something. Finally, it's an on shoe that actually has a bit of something behind it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
The only thing is whether it'll fall apart in about 6 weeks, because they have had bad form with stuff. The one, what was it? The other one we all did that they sent us out as well. The one recently, I can't remember which one that was. Cloud Stratus. Now that, in fairness, the wear and tear on that has been good, but all the other ones have all worn to pieces in the heel.
Yeah.
In the past. So but it does look good. I've seen Alex, what's his face?
Yeah. I know the guy, the Belgium guy.
Yeah, he did a review. He put that out today. I've not seen the Believe in the Run one yet.
No.
But yeah, they all said it's
like a max cushion shoe, but it's actually quite responsive as well. So I did a track session in it the other day and wasn't expecting much, but it was brilliant. It almost felt like the Alpha Fly from Nike, but not much firmer, but a lot more stable. So you can use it for speed stuff as well. So,
all right, Ben, have you ever been in a pair of Skechers?
I haven't. No.
Right. Okay. That's my next goal, is to get you in a pair of Skechers. I'll speak to them.
Big fan of Skechers.
Yeah, you gotta love the Skechers. Move away from Brooks, Wilco, and get on to Skechers.
Yeah, sounds good.
Look at him. Look. He loves his Brooks. He's had about 100 pairs.
7.
7.
I'm on my 7th pair.
That's impressive.
Dear.
I've not had my first yet, so maybe I should.
I'm a loyal sort of bloke, you know.
Yeah. There's another word for it, but we won't go into that. What?
Blimey, well, we've ticked over an hour.
Oh, poor Ben.
Flew, didn't it?
Poor Ben.
It did. Wow.
But can I ask my question now?
Oh, I thought you had.
No.
Oh, what?
I'll ask the question, and then we'll let Ben go and have his dinner. Right. So, Ben, I got hammered the other day, right, by this geezer on YouTube. It wasn't funny at the time, but you know what it's like. You always get someone who's really clever, and they comment about something, which I know nothing about. And he hammered me about, I was in a pair of shoes or something like that. And I apparently said, I know nothing because I've won nothing and all this sort of stuff, right? Because I've never won anything and all this sort of stuff. And I went back to him nicely and I said, that's not true, because I did win an egg and spoon race at school. And then everybody else jumped on him and the guy deleted his comment.
Yeah.
But what I want to know is, because, not being funny, but I know I led the Land and Landmarks for about 2 seconds, and I will next week if anybody else is out there listening, if you know what I'm talking about. But what is it actually like, right, to cross that line, to win a race? What happens to you? Because you go through on your Todd, and then, like, I saw you after the race, and you was just like, but you was just like bowling about like nothing. What actually happens after you win a race? What does it feel like? And then 2, what happens?
Yeah.
Do they give you a load of free stuff?
At the Landmarks one. No, what was it called? It was called the Winter Run.
He doesn't even know what it's called. He's won so many.
I've won so many, yeah.
I can't remember them all now. Winning all these things.
No,
go on, sorry, mate.
Yeah, obviously crossing the line with the tape out is a pretty incredible experience. Obviously, you see it on the telly all the time, don't you? So for that to actually happen in real life for yourself was a pretty special moment. Yeah, you pick up your medal just like anyone else. Get on with your day. It just means you finished a bit quicker than most people, so there's a little less crowds at the finish line. I guess that's
a little backdrop.
Yeah, exactly. You can get going, get on the train before the crowds come in.
We did the video, and Si on the way back, Si, I don't know, but he was with us that day, and he said, Ben's finished the race. He's been waited longer because you guys were waiting a long time for that win.
Didn't we? Cool.
You waited longer than you actually ran for.
Yeah, probably.
He was in the pen for longer than he actually ran.
It wasn't a warm day either.
They don't like just like, you know, they just like literally go, there you go, mate. See you later. Is that?
Yeah. No special treatment.
Oh.
Ain't it funny, isn't it? I wouldn't bother.
Nah. Not worth it.
Sack it off, mate. Done it.
That's why you don't win them, yeah?
Yeah, no, it's the only reason. It's the only reason. Yeah.
Let someone else have that experience.
Yeah, let you
Well,
have all the
Ben, I'm
glory.
sure I speak for everybody to say that it's been an absolutely
Oh,
fascinating hour and a
amazing.
bit talking to you about getting an insight of to your training and all you think. We wish you all very best of luck with Copenhagen and any other racing that you're up to
Thank you very much.
before you come and see us
Appreciate that.
again, because we'd love to have you back, I'm sure.
I'd love to, yeah.
I personally, I'd like to say, it's the best thing is like how humble you are about everything and how sort of like you recognise that
I'm being
not
serious.
everybody runs as quick as you do, and providing tips and advice for people to break their own goals that aren't, with the best will in the world, aren't going to be reaching the heights that you are, but still have their own personal goals. And we're very grateful that you've come on and giving us advice so that we can all do that. So thanks very much for coming on. Thanks for everybody to chat. And thanks for Toby looking after us and making sure we're a well-oiled machine this week.
He didn't do nothing.
Yes, he did.
No,
Yeah, but he's like the swan, you see.
Like it because it went to plan.
He's like the swan that's just gliding along the river, but it's all
Pressing all the
happening
buttons.
downstairs. It's all happening. Al's back. It's lovely to see him back. Chris, nice to see you, mate.
Oh yeah, watch out. I thought, yeah. And I've been deadly serious. A mad love to Ben. Appreciate you coming on because he's massively in demand and rightly so. If you've not checked,
and before you go, Ben,
Yeah.
I must allow you. Can you just give a
Plug
shout out
away,
to all
brother.
your socials so
Plug
people know
away.
where they can find
Yeah.
you?
Ben is running on pretty much everything. So Instagram and YouTube are my main platforms. Even TikTok.
Oh,
Yeah, I've sort
God,
of
he's
gone
cool,
into the world of TikTok now. So maybe go over to my TikTok and follow me on there.
Yeah, it's amazing. I can't reckon. I don't watch many YouTube. It's like Forrest, Andy, Dean, Chris. Here we are running Kafuzi as well, and Ben. They're the channels that I watch because genuine, nice people like you. Hopefully, I mean, not hopefully, but you've seen with Ben. It's just a genuine. I said that to you when I met you. Genuine, nice person. There's no BS about it. It's just getting on with it. It's just a pleasure to have somebody who's
really
who goes
appreciate
about their business like you do, mate.
Likewise
So
to you guys. It's been an absolute pleasure coming on.
no, we appreciate it.
We've loved having you, mate. Thanks very much. Thank you, everybody. Obviously, if you cannot make it at 7:00 on a Friday to join us live, you on YouTube and Facebook, you can download us on Spotify, Amazon, Apple, and all your normal podcast providers. Please keep giving us the reviews and the thumbs up and everything because we are smashing it. We're punching above our weight, and it's lovely. Yeah, I read all the reviews and they're great. It's really nice and very gratifying to see so many people saying such nice things about what we're doing because we really enjoy it. Have a great weekend. Take care. If you're doing the Lee Valley Run Fest half marathon, I might see you there. Hopefully, if I manage to put my clock forward.
Yeah, don't forget to change
your clock forward if you're doing a race on Sunday.
There we go.
Good advice.
So we will see you next week. We'll be talking London landmarks next week. And good luck to you in whatever race you're doing. Best of luck, Ben, for the rest of the season and the rest of the year. And we shall see you next week. Thanks very much. Toby, run them titles.